Joining me now is UFC lightweight Grant Dawson, who's set to face Jared Gordon at UFC Vegas 53 on April 30th. Grant, how's it going, man?
It's going. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. First things first, how's camp been so far ahead of this one, and how pumped are you to get back there in the octagon?
Camp's been really good. It's my first camp with ATT, and man, they have delivered. So I'm feeling really good. I feel like I've gotten a lot better. It's been about 2 months with them, and then about a 5-week actual camp. So super excited. Weight is good. Should be a pretty normal cut. Should be a pretty good fight, and I'm just super excited to get back in there, man.
Yeah, and I was about to ask you about that. What has the transition been like moving from Glory MMA in Missouri to ATT?
Well, I can tell you the weather's a lot nicer.
Yeah.
People don't move to Lee Summit for the weather, but it's really nice here. I'm loving the gym. I got a lot of high level guys that I'm working with, and they've really done a great job of like including me and making me feel at home and making me feel welcome to the team. So everything's great. I miss my people back in Missouri, but I'm where I belong.
I gotcha, man. And let's talk a little bit about your opponent, Jared Gordon. Obviously, a really tough guy, well-rounded style. I guess, what are your thoughts on the matchup? And is this a perfect opportunity for you to bounce back, especially after your Ricky Glenn fight?
Yeah, man. I think that Jared is probably the most well-rounded guy that I've fought. He wrestles really well. He gets up really well. He's got great jiu-jitsu defense. He's got good cardio, good striking, good power. He's really just a very well-rounded fighter. And those guys are dangerous, man, because, if you've got better striking, they can wrestle you. If you've got better wrestling, they can strike with you. I do think that this is going to be one of those fights that it's going to help me bounce back from that. I think that he's a better version of Ricky Glenn. I think they're kind of the same guy, but I think that Jared has fought better people, and he's beaten some better people. He's on a 3-fight win streak. I like this matchup a lot. I'm really excited to show how much better I've gotten with ATT. I'm really excited to show that Ricky Glenn fight was, call it what you will, a fluke, bad night, bad luck, whatever. Even though I don't believe in luck, it was just one of those things, man.
Yeah, coming with a new team also comes with a new corner. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
So I've got Coach Thiago Alves in my corner. He's my striking coach. And then I have Mike Brown. He's my main coach. He kind of, directs everything. Him and Thiago work together really, really well. And then I got Thiago Moises, who is my main training partner. He'll be in my corner as well. I've been training with him pretty much for the 2 months that I've been here. I kind of just showed up and forced him to be my friend. And he's been great. He's been getting me a lot of rounds, a lot of rolling. It's been absolutely amazing. And I'm so blessed to be in a place where all these high level guys are doing a really good job taking care of me.
I was just about to ask you about that. What's it been like working with Thiago Moises? Obviously, a guy that's been in the UFC for a little bit now. Obviously, fought some of the top guys. What is it like working with him in the gym?
Man, he's a beast. I kind of thought of him as a jiu-jitsu guy, before I met him. But he is so well rounded. He can wrestle. He can do jiu-jitsu. And his striking it's so technical, which a lot of people don't think of him as a striker, which is weird because his striking is super technical. He's one of the most well-rounded dudes I've ever trained with. He just does everything perfectly. He submits me more than anybody else does. He gives me the toughest rounds. And I think training with him these past 2 months is really going to show how much better I'm getting. So I thank you to Thiago. If you're watching this, man, you've been a great. So he's great, man.
And I believe your fiance, Elle Wagman, also fights too. How has she been adjusting to the move and training at a new gym?
She loves it. One of the reasons why we picked ATT was because they have people for me to train with and they have people for her to train with. And she's never been in a gym where she can train with other 105-pound women. They've always been, 125-pound men or bigger women, So she's got a whole slew of training partners that are her size that she can go with. And she's never had that before. So she's loving it up here.
Yeah. And I know you've only been at I know you've only been at ATT for a little bit, but what has been like working with Coach Mike Brown? All the fighters that I've talked to have had nothing but great things to say about him. I know you've only been there for a little bit, but how is it working with Mike Brown?
I mean, I'm just going to add to the list of great things to say about him, man. I came in and I didn't really have a coach. I didn't really have a direction, like I didn't know anybody, and he just did a really good job of making me feel welcome. He did a really good job of, caring about my my career and what's going on. So, and I helped him out a little bit when he was getting some of other fighters ready. I came in and helped them, and so he's been taking really good care of me. He's been directing my whole camp. He's got a lot of knowledge. He works with me twice a week, which is great, and I'm learning so much from him. I'm learning so much from Coach Alves, and I'm so excited to prove to myself and prove to both of my new coaches how good I am and how good I can be in the future.
That's awesome. And obviously, I know you're not looking past Jared Gordon, but where do you feel like a win puts you in terms of the lightweight division and just kind of the landscape of that group?
I mean, with an impressive win over Jared Gordon, I think that puts me top 15 next. I think I'm going to have to fight somebody to get into the top 15. But honestly, at this point, I will have been, 7 fights in the UFC, 7 fights unbeaten. You got to give me a top 15 guy next. You got to maybe even just throw me in there. I don't really want to get in that way. I think to get into the top 15, you have to beat somebody in the top 15. But I'm not going to say no. So they want to just throw me in there in the mix. It doesn't really matter to me, but top 15 is next, whether I'm in or I have to fight somebody to get in. But right now, Jared Gordon is the only thing on my mind. I'm not underestimating this guy. And I think that I think some people are underestimating him for me, but I am not. I know how tough he is. I know how good he is. I know how dangerous he is. So I am coming April 30th. I'm coming 100% me, 100% focus.
Yeah, and obviously a guy that's been getting a lot of hype in the lightweight division too is Paddy Pimblett. Is that a potential opponent for you down the line that you may have your eyes on as you get closer to the top 15?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I know that Paddy is a superstar, and I know that a lot of people have high hopes for him, but he's got 2 fights in the UFC, and that fight, I won't say no. If they want to set that up, I'll for sure take it. But it just doesn't make any sense, if I was in the top 15 and they wanted to rush him into the top 15, that might make sense. But I don't see that being a matchup anytime soon. I think that he's going to work his way up like I did. And maybe someday in the distant future we'll match up. But I just can't see that being a matchup happening with a win over Jared Gordon.
I gotcha. And obviously a big lightweight title fight coming up between Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. How do you see that playing out?
I see Justin Gaethje winning. A lot of people are looking at his Khabib Nurmagomedov fight and counting him out because of the jiu-jitsu of Charles. The thing that they're not realizing is Khabib's wrestling is better than Charles, in my opinion. Maybe his jiu-jitsu isn't, but his wrestling is, and he was struggling to get. I'm sorry, I've got weight cut brain.
You're good.
Gaethje down. I think that Gaethje will hurt Charles. Charles will go to his back. Gaethje will let him up and it'll hurt him again, and so on and further. And I think that he'll end up getting the knockout win. Now, if he doesn't win by knockout in the first 2 rounds, I do think that Charles will eventually get him down and submit him. But with it being the first 2 rounds, I think that Charles bit off a little bit more that he could chew with Gaethje. I think that Gaethje will put him away.
I gotcha. And last question for me, what can fans expect from you in your fight against Jared Gordon?
What they can expect is dominance, high pace, forward pressure, lots of takedown attempts. Hopefully I'll get at least one around, and I'm going to be going for the finish. I don't think he's ever been submitted inside the UFC, and I'm going to be the first guy to submit him inside the UFC.
Awesome, man. Well, before we wrap things up here, I'll give you the final word to shout out any sponsors you have. Shout out your new team as well if you would like. The floor is yours.
Hey guys, follow me on Instagram. I don't really get on Facebook and I hate Twitter. So follow me on Instagram, and just thank you to ATT for accepting me and my family so much. We love you guys and we're so happy to be a part of this team, and we can't wait for what the future holds. So thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Well, Grant, thanks again for the time. Can't wait for the fight, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, brother.